Dear Mr. Kaiser, Mr. Uppal, Mr. Mehra, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Collier, ladies and gentlemen, friends, I don't deserve this award, but I have arthritis and I don't deserve that either. That quote stems from an American comedian, Jack Benny, quite some years back. If you ask me, I would say I don't deserve this award, but my organization and all my colleagues that have been involved in the cooperation with OGTC over the last 5 years, they do deserve this award. Let me mention just one name, Amit Kumar. He's sitting there and he started this cooperation way back in 2007. So it is in representation of them and of my organization, GIZ, that I accept your award with great delight. Let me allow me to briefly outline who we are, who GIZ is, why we are in the apparel sector, why it is important to our work, what we've been doing so far, and what our plans for the future are. With regard to who we are, I just have to add very few aspects to what you have just said, Mr. Mehra. It's 50 years, more than 50 years, 53 actually, that we are working here in India. It's been in 1958 that the bilateral cooperation has started. That was the year I've been born. And we are working today in 3 areas that all are relevant to you, I suppose: energy, environment, and sustainable economic development. Our main partners in the SME field is the Ministry of MSME and SIDBI, and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and its Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. In the last years, we've been working on all levels, from international brands, multilateral and bilateral organizations, and the national government, through the level of associations, service providers, and multipliers, to the level of individual enterprises, where we were testing and demonstrating successful sustainability innovations. Now, why do we work in this sector? Apart from the role the textile and apparel sector plays in the Indian economy and the Indian growth story, it is a focus area for GIZ in India due to the increasing bilateral trade relations. Germany is the second largest export destination for Indian apparel. Furthermore, technical assistance on challenges related to energy, environment, and climate change, another major focus area of our work, and technology transfer across various components of the textile and apparel value chain contribute to the growing importance of this sector to our portfolio. And it is this sector that is the second largest after agriculture when it comes to generating income and employment for the poorer sections of society. The over 35 million people involved along the entire supply chain play a vital role to the Indian and our developmental objective of inclusive growth. What have we been doing in this sector so far? 3 points I would like to mention. First, service market development, enhancing knowledge to create demand. Just a few bullet points. We've been working on web portals, on the Be Smart program, on the Consult Who program, and on capacity building of business membership organizations, that is, associations. Second, responsible business behavior. Here we've been working on carbon neutral clothing, energy efficiency guidebook and the tip sheet, on resource optimization, on pilots for commercially usage of solar energy in the textile processing, and a study on adaptive capacity of the textile sector in India, as well as risk assessment. And third, responsible competitiveness of the sector. Here, we were involved in a quality improvement program, in performance assessment, in cluster-based marketing strategy development, in the REACH management help desk in cooperation with AEPC, in capacity building support and trainings, working with brands and international organizations, and lastly, on a study on responsible competitiveness of the textile sector by the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, which has played a vital role in the development of the national voluntary guidelines on business responsibility that have been launched in July. Now, what are the challenges that we have encountered during our work? What are the open questions we have encountered? I would like to mention 5. First, lack of supply chain transparency and value chain management. You all know there was a time when brands only gave orders and did not bother what the supplier did to execute them. The very notion of supply chain management was distant. Today, we are entering an era where brands have to manage their supply chains and are willing to offer hand-holding support to their suppliers. For example, to implement regulations like REACH. And these suppliers have to reach out to their suppliers. Compliance throughout the whole supply chain has become an imperative. Are we capable of doing that? Are we willing to do that? We think we have to. Second, retaining India's competitiveness. With prices rising, cost is definitely not the competitive edge, sustainable competitive edge in the geopolitical setup of South Asia. What is it that India can offer then? Flexibility, value-added services, cleaner production, responsible and compliant supply chains, shorter lead times, or a combination of all this. Third, absence of management systems to deal with compliances. The issue of compliance has revolved around policing and the adoption of ad hoc approaches by suppliers. There is a lack of vision and absence of systems to manage compliance. We cannot continue for long like this. When are we going to change, and how are we going to change? Fourth, adapting to climate change, a moving goalpost. After an era of doing business the old way, came a time when working conditions and social issues had to be looked into. Today, with climate change and environmental impacts being brought to the fore, environmental responsibility becomes a priority. Are we prepared for that change? And fifth, the buy-in of the whole value chain in a spirit of partnership. Today, brands of developed economies, international organizations, and also our national government are committed to this change. Initiatives like the Common Compliance Code by the Ministry of Textile, the National Action Plan for Climate Change by the Government of India bear testimony to this effort. However, they will not do much good until all actors in a given value chain are fully committed, see the inherent value, and change their behavior in a strategic and consistent way, beyond ad hoc reactions. It is only then that government and organizations like us can help make a difference. Now, if you ask me what are the plans we have for our future work in this sector, again, I would like to mention 5 points. First, let me mention the Center for Responsible Business. You have met Bimal Arora yesterday morning, and this is one of our interesting initiatives that started in 2010. It's a development partnership, a PPP, with Social Accountability International, SAI, and the Business Social Compliance Initiative, BSCI, aimed at supporting Indian businesses by developing local enabling and qualifying support services and structures which are harmonized with global standards and correspond with local conditions and are affordable. That last sentence may be very important, right? The project is incubating a center of excellence on responsible business in India, which will be a public benefit, self-sustaining institution, and will provide capacity building services like training, process advisory, and knowledge services. This center will have a major focus on the textile and apparel sector and is aiming to work across the whole value chain. More importantly for the apparel sector, this center is promoting and building capacities for a structured management systems approach to deal and engage with standards and compliances, which sets a clear roadmap and is a better strategy than the currently followed ad hoc and reactive approaches. Secondly, migrant labor study. We're going to do a migrant labor study because we have recognized that both internal and national migration are an essential and inevitable component of the economic and social life of many states, and that if we manage them properly, they can be beneficial for both the individuals and the societies. The multiple and complex dimensions of migration include, among others, labor migration, migrant rights, migration and development, migration and trade, migration and security. This is yet another important initiative of the Center from the perspective of the apparel sector, where we are launching a study to understand in detail the national migrant worker situation and issues they face in the Indian business context. All this will feed into evolving into an intervention strategy and other deliverables. Third, dealing with the challenges of the domestic market. We're planning to now also venture into the domestic market, and as a first step, we'll be launching a comprehensive study to understand the issues and challenges faced by the textile and apparel sector in the Indian domestic market. Fourth, training of bank personnel on sector-specific issues to facilitate access to finance. And fifth, more and more we're focusing on the development of comprehensive solutions that are spanning the entire value chain from farm to fashion. These solutions will address all major stakeholders along the supply chain, from brands through manufacturers through suppliers. Well, besides these, there are some other interesting initiatives in the pipeline, and you may just stay tuned as we will keep you updated on their progress. Thank you once again for the recognition and the encouragement. And indeed, you at OGTC, you are the real path breakers, and we all congratulate you for playing this pivotal role in this sector. We look forward to your support and continued association. Thank you very much.